Nobody's listening, right? Hey, Andy.
Hi, good morning.
Anyone listening?
Someone is listening. A few people are listening.
A few?
Bon. Missed you guys. I listened to every episode of Totally Lame, so glad you're back. I'm a St. Louisan and missed your energy in the podcast world. Love you guys. We got another one. I'm listening. You know those friends who you don't see for a long time and you finally see them and it's like no time has passed and everything feels comfortable again? This is how I feel listening. A piping hot cup of coffee curled up with a blanket in front of the fireplace, just enjoying. Oh, how I've missed that.
That's so nice.
So sweet.
Look at the levels here. Does it seem like there's a discrepancy?
There is. I'm not worried about that. You're going to get a lot louder. I know this is going to happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I do want to say I typically think you enjoy your voice quite a bit louder than my voice.
I mean, just as voices we're listening to, yeah.
Okay, so cool.
No, look, see, you already just caught up.
Okay.
Trust me, last time I made the mistake, we get way louder as time goes on.
Ain't that the truth?
And I can adjust these levels.
I need to meet your energy this morning. I don't know why I'm kind of grumpy or something.
Yeah, what's going on? Let's get into the grumps real quick.
Well, this is so stupid. I mean, our kids have the best life. Like I gotta say, I think we're doing a bang-up job of making them feel loved and supported and safe and secure. Mm-hmm. I'm also reading the stuff about like the kids who have fled the Ukraine and who are injured and things like that. And I'm like, come on, guys. So I ordered Marvin's magic, amazing markers for the kids.
Pens.
Pens.
Actually, yeah.
They are so excited for these. They do look very cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I ordered them on Amazon. Mm-hmm. Now, these kids also are so spoiled. I mean, I've explained to them many times. It's like my parents saying they're kids starving. You know, of course it doesn't sink in where I'm like, when we were kids and we ordered something, we'd have to wait many weeks minimum.
I can remember. Do you remember ordering stuff off of like TV ads that would take months to show up?
Months.
Yeah.
These kids are used to getting it the next day.
Yeah, prime, baby.
So we were waiting for them. They were out for delivery. It was arriving by 10 p.m., which is tough because in Otis's mind, it's like, that's coming today, but he goes to bed at 8. Sure enough was the case. But then I get a notification that they had been delivered. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a scam. I could be wrong, but the delivery, when have you seen a delivery note say, delivered, handed to resident?
And this is inside the Amazon app?
Yes.
I've seen that before, but so I don't think it's a scam unless it's just like maybe, here's what could have happened. The Amazon driver could have given it to someone else, a wrong address. Mm-hmm. Or it could be like some like Amazon driver hack that like they couldn't find the package and they need to put something in.
I think it's a hack. Or I think, I saw that it left the delivery place at like 11 a.m. Mm-hmm. Or actually before that. So that's a long day for a delivery driver. And I know notoriously Amazon employees are not like, they work very hard and don't get compensated the way they should.
Yeah, they're peeing in bottles.
So I'm like, maybe the package got lost. Maybe the driver was just like, I'm baked. I can't keep going. I'm not going to drive over to that whatever area.
Could be.
And the hack by saying I handed it to someone is that there's no opportunity to take the picture of the package.
Yeah.
Because normally when I go to see it's delivered, first thing I'm going is like, oh, well, there's the picture of it. I know where it is.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it was handed to someone. I just don't. Like,
in your heart of hearts,
my heart of hearts,
there's no way this fucking delivery person delivered this package to someone yesterday.
Right.
Shots
and we do
fired.
have, we have security cameras that I've reviewed the footage.
We also have very courteous neighbors in general that someone would have brought it by now.
Anyway, so this is so dumb, but waking up, like Otis waking up and just knowing for a 6-year-old boy, this is like a who has the most charmed life. And I do want to say, I don't think our kids are spoiled.
They're close.
They're close in the sense that they haven't just faced, this is not fair to say though, they've gone through a pandemic. They have faced adversity and they are resilient and in their own ways, but they haven't ever like, you know, this devastation. It just gives you perspective. Like this is such a devastation to Otis where there are kids out there whose like this wouldn't be obviously a blip on their radar because they have much bigger fish to fry.
Right.
But anyway, I knew I was going to deal with a grumpy kid.
Yeah.
Sure enough, was dealing with a grumpy kid. And the hard thing about parenting that they don't tell you until you're in it, you know, like back in the day, you'd like smack a kid or whatever, which is abuse. And of course that would work because you're instilling fear and this like really fucked up dynamic in the relationship and whatever. So parents are like, that's the way to fix the problem. Well, yeah, it's the easy fix that's going to give everyone in society long-term issues. Is you do want to say, I mean, my instinct is to say like, there are kids in the Ukraine who have lost their legs. Like I was reading about this morning. This is not a big deal, but you can't do that because it's just shutting them down. And especially our young boys, I think we're not like part of the toxic masculinity in this country and world.
God bless you.
Is that we don't allow our boys to feel their feelings and we don't support them through feeling their feelings and teaching them that feelings are okay, all of their feelings, bad feelings, good feelings, whatever. And so it is a hard parenting task when you just want it to stop and you want it to be like, you're being upset about this little thing is like ruining everyone's morning here. But really what you got to do is like say, I know that's really frustrating. Like you were really excited for this and you already felt like you were waiting a long time for it. And then now it's not here and I'm frustrated too. And like walk them through it. It does. If you do that enough times, it does help them process.
Yeah.
I mean, it did work. Like it got the whining and sadness to stop, but all right, whatever. So,
I agree with you, but I do feel like how do you give some sort of dose of like, but like this really isn't that big of a deal? Because it also in some ways feels like a disservice, right? That like if you're raised in a way that you're allowed to have these catastrophic reactions to like stuff that's like, bro, don't sweat this.
Well, I think as it becomes more and more age appropriate. Well, so in Otis's case this morning, that did calm him down, like just being acknowledged. But I think if it were to continue in a way where I think that then that kind of tough love could come into play where it's like, I know this seems like it's the end of the world. Yeah. But like, it's going to be okay. This is a small blah, blah, blah. And I think as he gets older, more of that perspective can come in. And the sad truth is these kids, like their lives are going to teach them that, you know, we had such charmed and our kids have charmed childhoods, but they are going to face things that we never had to face. And they are going to have to grapple with things. And I mean, like the fact that they go to school and have to do active shooter drills.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
The trauma that they have to experience just by virtue of existing right now and like the social media stuff and that we did not is going to, I mean, they're going to have to buck up.
Let me ask you, let's get back to the magic pen, Marvin's amazing magic pens for a second.
Okay.
Because I'm worried about you today. Because I feel like you might have created a monster. because you said if they don't show up, we'll go find them out in the world.
I should look at Target right now.
I think you are fucked.
Are you serious?
Yes, very serious. I was half asleep and I heard you make that statement and I was like, oh, you just opened a huge can of worms.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So I think this is a journey that is not over for you at all. And I think will very much color the tone of your entire day.
Oh, no. This is going to be...
I would just say for a tip for all of the people out there, maybe you're pregnant right now, curious for some parenting tips, before making a Marvin's Amazing Magic Pen promise, make sure they're available in your local area.
Oh my God. I am so fucked.
You are really fucked.
Shit. Oh no.
Can I pile on you for a minute since you're kind of in this funky place?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I love our listeners because last episode we were talking about public urination. And you were so
Wait,
confident.
I haven't even... Oh, no. I think that today is going to be tough.
Tough stuff. So you were so confident and so arrogant that when I was suggesting that in some cultures in Europe, public urination is much more, what's I don't even remember the word I used, and I can't think of the word, but accepted. Yeah, that's a tricky word. And I got a bunch of messages. And I also want to say right now that we're recording this early because Elizabeth's going out of town. So there's only been about 24 hours since the podcast dropped. So I'm expecting so many more messages because I've already gotten so many messages.
How many?
4.
I got
4.
1.
And was it taking you down a peg or
yeah,
2?
Andy is correct. Is a first line, which is tough for me to see. When I traveled in West Africa, it was normal for men to pee anywhere.
Oh, okay. So that's one for West Africa.
Shadow.
I'm getting reports
Let's hear where else.
that a few people sent me info about Paris, where they've even installed public red urinals throughout the city, just like on the sidewalks. I don't know how that's shaken out. I will say that there is opposition to this culture, and it seems that most European places are saying that like when it's accepted and people like kind of turn an eye is in the evening hours with drunk people.
Yes.
And a lot of these places, there's other cities that have installed these urinals that are just out literally in the open.
Well, you know what? That's great. And what I will say is in our culture, we too turn an eye to, like we were talking about last week, the unhoused or people who don't have access to facilities the way others do. Like there are circumstances in our culture where it's accepted.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah.
But I would hope that, yes, measures are taken to change the practice because it's so unhygienic. And also it's men whipping their dicks out for any reason is very traumatizing for, I think, women. I don't love it. Not my thing.
We're getting reports that this is rampant in Copenhagen, in Berlin, in Germany. Not illegal. Public urination there is not illegal. No fines associated with that. Anyway, so that's really interesting. Also, one of the listeners, Chrissy, that sent some links and info about. Let me see. Was she talking about? Oh, she was talking about Copenhagen. Sent some really interesting info about the staircase. Can I share a little bit?
Yeah, just spoiler.
I'm going to edit.
Actually, let's come back to that.
Okay.
And then we'll give a spoiler, and so people can carry on with their lives. We'll do that.
End the show maybe with that. I love that. Anyways, thank you for all the messages. Again, we're only 24 hours out from the last episode. I'm thanking everyone for the plethora of messages that are about to come in and buoy me up and take my lovely wife down a peg or two.
I feel like I'm on a slide down. Like, I'm now so stressed out about these fucking magic, amazing marker pens.
Can I be a dick one more time about that?
Yeah.
You are so fucked. What is your plan?
My plan was, we'll pop over to Target and they'll have it. Target's got it all.
Yeah.
What is Target thinking not carrying Marvin's amazing magic pens?
I have this is my guess, is that this is something that's already played out, that like our kids are coming too late. It just feels like an older thing to me that like maybe was at Target at one time.
Well, that's also tough. Okay. So great.
I would start thinking backup plans.
Oh my God. Well, I haven't even. What are you saying?
Maybe there's a marker store, and you're going to be calling all these stores. It's hilarious. I love it. You're
and
good,
I
Mom.
have a
You're good, Mom.
I have a full day.
Oh, you do? Because I don't have a huge day today, and I was going to see if you wanted to watch a little staircase today.
Oh no, I have so much to do today. I'm like so busy, and then on top of it, things keep getting piled on to my day. I have 3 days in one.
You do?
Yes.
See, I was up very late doing T-Bash last night.
Yeah.
Shout out T-Bash. Check it out. We're podcast is back. We're putting the episodes up on YouTube. You can find us at twitch.tv/TBashLive. But so I woke up today and was like, I don't have a session with someone in person today. I just have to get ready for a session tomorrow. And I was like, you're going out of town. I was like, maybe Elizabeth and I will watch the staircase a little bit in the living room. Maybe have we have leftovers. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, it sounds like my dream is not happening.
Yeah.
It also sounds like we're in such different places
We're in
today.
such different places. I'm going away for a girls' weekend that I could not be more excited about, but everyone has COVID again.
But none of your friends going to the girls'
None
weekend.
of them have COVID, but some of them have been around people who have COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I've fully transitioned into we're living life almost like COVID doesn't exist. And now I'm reining it back in. And now my friends are flying in from all over the country.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're going to Palm Springs. We're going to be like outside most of the time. I know the place where we're going, but I am going to be the weirdo who's wearing a mask inside the whole time because I just really don't want to get it. And I'm already having visions of like
this is,
everyone, on Sunday is starting to feel crummy and being like, oh no. And how I would regret not having worn my mask, even though it might not do anything. Like it does. Masks help. We know this. I at least would feel like, well, I did what I could.
That's true. But here's my argument. This is what I would do if you were super worried about it. Mm-hmm. We have a ton of home tests where we got like a Costco pack in our closet. I feel like if I was you, I would just take those tests. And how many days are you with the girls? Friday and Saturday?
And Sunday.
Like, if you want to be really crazy, you could just test each day. Have everybody test each day. Because the fact of the matter is, yes, the mask might definitely help. But if you're in that close proximity for 3 days straight with people, I'm not sure if the mask is going to help. And I feel like you're going to be... It's just not going to be as fun. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
I think the mask would help, honestly. And I feel like the amount that we're inside is so minimal anyway. Like I know this house, we hang out outside the whole time.
Yeah.
And the thing about the rapid tests, like, yes, that's an extra layer of protection. And they do test if you are
contagious.
Contagious.
Yeah.
But first of all, it feels weird foisting that upon everyone that we're going to do this every day, because if someone does test positive while we're there,
wouldn't it be nice to know that?
Well, yes, but if they've flown in from across it, like, what are they going to do?
Right.
And then we've also like already just been with them the whole time. That's what I'm saying is like the only kind of preventative thing I feel like I can do is wearing a mask. And I am, by the way, by far and away the most like cautious of this group. And I'm also, I think, the only one who's never gotten COVID. So not to say, I mean, listen, you can be as cautious as a monk and still get it. I'm not like, I'm just saying, I really, really, really don't want to get it. And especially right now, because we have some fun plans coming up.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's back, baby. Oh, man. Everyone has it again, all of a sudden. And I think that we can't even trust like the government numbers because everyone's home testing now.
That's probably true.
So I feel like it must be multiple times whatever we're seeing, which is already going up. Like it's much higher than that.
I think part of that's true, but I think living in a place like LA is not, I don't think we have to worry about that as much because they are testing the water and the sewage and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right.
So they do have, I think they have a pretty decent finger on the pulse of how it's going. And it is going up.
Okay, speaking of sewage.
Yeah.
Should we just get into this
I feel like
episode of...
Yeah, I feel like we're piling on you.
But just let's take Elizabeth down.
Maybe just unloading all of this. You're like freeing yourself from all this negative energy.
Maybe,
by like,
yeah.
Or are you inviting more? I don't know.
It's so weird because yesterday I was so happy.
You were.
We booked a vacation that I like could not be more excited about, and it's our first like true family vacation we're taking ever with our kids. And I mean, I almost started weeping with joy yesterday. It's like, this is what makes me like believe there is something to astrology. I'm like, what planets are lining up today that is pinging this? There is just this energy that's unavoidable, and I might as well just surrender to it. And so let's talk about sewage.
Well, I believe on our last episode we talked about, did we talk about our toilet backing up?
No.
We didn't at all.
I don't think so.
So we went up to our cabin that we've been renovating, and the toilet got clogged. And it was so clogged that when I was plunging it, water started coming up the bathtub, which is a sign that the main line itself is clogged. Now we have another, it's like two cabins. One is really in a state of renovation. So we're like, well, let's go use those toilets.
It's not even in a state. Okay, yes.
It's gutted.
Go ahead. It's gutted, and it's,
toilets from the 70s. But we're like, hopefully we can at least use those toilets until we leave, because otherwise what are we going to do? We have no toilet to use here. Mm-hmm. So we checked the downstairs toilet, and it seems maybe like it's kind of clogged. Like it's flushing, but it just looks fishy, right? Like the bowl is filling with a ton of water, and it's slowly going down, and it's almost like the water never totally recedes into the bowl. Then we go to the upstairs bathroom, and it's working better. Seems like the better option. So I sussed this out.
So annoying.
And you asked me to go suss out the top toilet to see if that one worked better. That's a key point of this story.
Yeah, but what I want to say is, okay, so the back house, the little house that we stay in, which is like a studio.
Yep.
The toilet was not flushing, and also, did you say stuff was backing up into the bathtub and stuff? Okay, sorry, I tuned down. I'm 1 foot in Penland and 1 foot in. Okay, so then I went to use the bathroom in the front house first, actually.
That evening of the initial backup, yeah. And
it worked. The bottom bathroom in the front house worked. Then you took the kids. What?
You're missing something. You said it worked, but you're like, I don't know, though, because it was how I just described it when you weren't listening. It did fill up in this way and empty in a way that was like, I don't know how reliable this is. And you were the one that pointed that out.
Stop pointing at me. Stop pointing your finger at me. Okay. So then Andy took the kids to the house, and there's news. The bottom bathroom is not great, right? We should use the top bathroom. Top bathroom is working better.
Yeah.
Let's use top bathroom.
And it was like kind of a fun adventure thing.
No, it wasn't. I was like, this was at like 8:30 p.m. The kids' bedtime is usually 8. I was basically like, if we don't have a functioning toilet, we are getting in the car and driving back to Los Angeles.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying that the act of going to the main cabin, the gutted cabin, in night in the dark was kind of fun for the kids.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Yeah. Like there was a bit of an adventure that
Okay.
we enjoyed. I will tell you one thing. There was one weird noise that happened while we were in there
Oh, no.
that I did not
React to?
at all, but I heard it too. And the kids were like, what was that? Yeah.
Do you think we have a haunted cabin?
I hope not. I kind of don't think so because our back house is definitely not haunted.
Is Diamond Joe lurking?
In the front house?
Well,
Anyways.
we have people who can come and help us with that. Luckily, living in LA, if we have a spirit, we'll figure it out.
We'll help
Diamond
that
Joe,
spirit
by the
out.
way, was the man who built the house and owned it, and seemed like quite a character, like someone who might stick around.
Maybe.
And we do find diamond cards.
That's true.
So, anyway, long story short, we're like, okay, we have a functioning toilet. Let's go to bed. And I was very concerned because, and I'm going to just put it all out there, I typically poop in the morning.
You know what my grandma called that?
What?
A morning's morning.
A morning's gross. Just when you don't think like there could be a grosser way to morning's morning is very upsetting.
Is it? Why?
And
It's
also,
kinda cute.
can I just say something?
Yeah.
Which grandma?
Betty.
Like she said it enough times that you heard her say it, or is it something that
No,
was
yeah,
passed?
it's a thing. Yeah, morning's morning.
Gross. Gross. Okay.
Anyways, let's just say, I want to paint the picture a little bit more, is you were worried like we might need to go home because you have a morning's morning every morning, right?
Oh,
and so when we woke up in the morning, when you were like, okay, I'm going to the potty, everybody knew. You know, I knew, the kids knew. Everyone was kind of on edge.
High
alert, curious of how this would go down.
So in my waking up stupor, I just go into the house and go use the last toilet that I used that worked, which was the downstairs toilet.
But we had talked the night before that
I know.
Okay, I just want to point out that conversation had happened.
So I use the toilet and I flush it, and to my horror, but it rose up to the tippy top, but it didn't overflow. But I was just like, I'm closing the lid, I'm leaving the scene, and I go to report back to Andy, and he, of course, was like, why would you use that toilet?
Yeah, well, you walk in, I was like, how did it go? Thinking fine, and you're like, what did you say? Not good. I used the downstairs, and I was disappointed.
The kids were disappointed. Everyone's disappointed in me. And it weirdly didn't affect, like, now, the feeling I have right now feels worse, but it's going to get worse even. Because then what happens, Andy?
Well, so then we got the plumber to go by.
So then we have our day and we come home.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. And then so the plumber came by after we left, and he gave me a call. And by the time he got there,
which was like a day and a half later.
A day and a half. The back toilet was not clogged at all, and he couldn't recreate it. And I was like, did you see, was there still stuff in the bathtub? And he's like, no, but I see what was in the bathtub. Like, I see that it backed up. And he's
so the bathtub had drained.
The bathtub had drained.
Weird.
And he was like, and the 2 toilets in the front house. Those are flushing fine too, but there was quite a mess in the downstairs toilet that I had to auger and clean out. And he used the word mess at least 3 times. That he
Here, I have a lot of questions for you, and they're going to feel accusatory because I feel very accused in this.
Well, you made the mess.
Yeah, I guess technically I made the mess, but first of all, did you tell him that there was poop in the downstairs toilet?
I think I did. I do. I'm only like 85% sure, but that I did mention, and like, yeah, that I think I really, I'm being honest here. I think I did, but I may not have.
Okay. Second of all, had it overflown? Because for a plumber, someone who we can presume deals with this sort of situation a lot, like, had it overflown? Like, why would a plumber call poop in a toilet that hasn't flushed yet a mess?
I have questions about your bowel movements. And maybe you're like...
Oh my God, thank God I didn't have my period or something. He would have walked off the job. Like, this is a plumber. This is someone who... Why is he bringing so much attention to the mess? And also, here's another thought I had, because I've thought about this a lot. I mean, I'm very embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing we didn't take into consideration is not only is what?
The size of your mornings.
Oh my God, I'm really upset by morning. The front house, as you mentioned, is in renovations, is gutted. However, that downstairs bathroom is not gutted. It's just thrashed.
Yeah.
Now, we bought this house like a year and a half ago with the intentions of renovating it and the little back studio. And, you know, life happened and we ran out of money. And so we put pause on the renovations indefinitely. And so not only, like, no one's cleaned in there, first of all, because we're just going to demo this bathroom anyway. So
I love where you're trying to go right now.
And
it's so ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Listen to me. Hear me out. There's a year and a half's worth of like dust. And also it has been like upstairs has been gutted and renovated. So it's also like construction dust and all of the it's the old bathtub. It's the old tile that's all chipped and gross. It's also become kind of a dumping ground for, like, we throw stuff into that bathtub that's like
a snow shovel
construction.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is when he referred to the mess over and over to me, he was judging our gutted 70s cabin that is clearly in construction phase, and he couldn't tolerate the dust and shovels and a few random screws thrown about. And he thought to himself, what a mess. But he disregarded whatever, like, explosion you put into this toilet bowl. This theory has no weight at all.
Oh.
I want to circle back real quick to morning because I think I'm going to say something that's going to make it a lot better for you. It's how my grandma would refer to the dog taking a walk, doing a dump everywhere. So like I'm taking Fritzy for his morning.
Okay.
But then it flowed over to meaning but that's the origin story. Does that make it better for you?
Definitely better.
And you understand now why we were all knew of the saying, because like I'm gonna take him for his morning.
Yes. A minor detail. That's for the dog. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. You see where I was coming from, where it's Grandma Betty saying, I'm going to go have my morning's morning or just had my morning's morning.
Yeah.
Is much more upsetting.
It's more palatable. I agree.
Okay.
Can I ask one more personal question, then we'll move on?
I just want to say this before you ask a question.
Yeah.
I don't know. My morning's morning. I can't even say this.
Are normal?
Well, I know that you want like a long.
What do you want exactly? A long?
You know who has great poops?
Tell me.
Our son.
Yes, I would agree with you there.
He has a long, curvy. That's what, Oprah did a whole year on poop, basically. Okay. And that's what you want, like an S, a long S that's not broken up and it's not little pellets and things like that.
Yeah.
What I will say is that I don't often have that.
Okay.
But I don't think that what I'm depositing is that crazy that it would cost a plumber. And the other thing I want to say is the toilet water rose to like pretty much the lip of,
Ooh, that's tricky.
And so whatever morning I had deposited there, like, had been in dealing with that level of water for
loosening up, probably.
Yeah, like, so it doesn't matter. It probably wouldn't matter what was there originally when a day and a half later the plumber came, and I'm like, did he create a mess? Like when he was
No, don't think so.
When he was augering it.
Okay, well, here's my last question about this. Now, using our son's great poops as an example, I'm definitely on the other side, like more dehydrated poop zone. I'm like, I know my poops aren't up to his standard at all, okay?
Yeah.
My question for you is, and I'm just wondering, are you on the other side of that? Are you more of a looser stool type, messy person?
Gross.
Are they looser?
Yeah, maybe.
Because when you said, I don't know, but they're not like that, in a looser way or just a different way?
It just depends on the day and pretty much what I've eaten. But like, I have a pretty high fiber, I eat a lot of vegetables diet. So yeah, I guess it is, but I don't know.
Okay, we can.
But your body adapts. I just want to, honestly, I just want to get in bed and call it a day on this day. Things, I said to Otis on our way to school, I said, I know you're disappointed about the pens, and I completely understand why, but it is what it is. And so if you can find ways to find happiness and joy, it will make your day feel a lot better to you.
That's good advice.
I'm having a hard time. I just feel...
You're having a good laugh. Doesn't it feel good to laugh?
Yes, it does. It does. But I now have this like spiral of anxiety about all this other stuff, which is so dumb. Again, reading about what's going on in the world, like I'm upset now that I'm potentially not going to be able to find Marvin's.
Well, truth be told, it's going to be really hard, if not impossible, to find Marvin's markers. Pens, sorry.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the staircase?
I do and I don't. I'm gonna share a little bit of what Chrissy said because we are currently in it, but I really don't want to spoil this for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Oh, and by the way, I mean I have something to spoil for Selling Sunset.
Ooh. Okay,
I don't know if you want. I don't.
Maybe let's wait till we finish the season.
Okay, but I do want to say this. I just want to give a little quick shout out. If anyone's listening and lives in LA, I mentioned this last time, but we're doing an awesome show at Dynasty Typewriter Theater. It's going to be myself, Mary Elizabeth Ellis, Eunice Hernandez, who's running for City Council #1. Just yesterday, the City Council voted 14-1 to beef up LAPD's budget by like $80 million. We desperately need progressive candidates in City Council. And I don't know why even one of the so-called most progressive candidates voted for it. So I'm like, we need honest progressive candidates. And so we're donating all of the proceeds to her campaign, and she's going to be there. And then we have an amazing lineup. We have Cameron Esposito, Chelsea Devontes, Yasser Lester, Atsuko, and then a few others who are to be.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's going to be incredible.
Lineup.
So it's May 31st, Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. We would love to see you there. There's going to be a giveaway. Like, it's going to be so awesome. And it's a storytelling show about phases we've all had. So I'm really excited about that.
That sounds awesome. Where do people get the tickets?
They can get them on the link on my Instagram, which is at Elizabeth Lame, or they can go to Dynasty Typewriter website.
Amazing. Okay, so here was some of the staircase stuff. So listener Chrissy, her husband, let's see, let me find out where this starts. Okay, she lives in Durham. And her husband worked for the water department, and a few years ago got called to the Peterson mansion in the middle of the night to fix the water main.
Wow.
Speaking of plumbing problems.
Yeah. What kind of mess was there?
Let's see. I've read all this before, but I'm not sure. Sorry, it's a long message and it's great, and I just don't want to spoil anything else. Oh, anyways. Oh, okay. So I think this is after Peterson had moved out of the house, it seems. Okay. And there's an interesting story that this like interesting kind of weird artist bought the place and like did some very weird stuff to the thing, and like he owned like the Beatles Abbey Road cover. It just like sounded like an eccentric guy.
Yeah, but I'm always like, people who like buy the places where like at the end of the day that person bought it because there's this lore about how this innocent woman lost her life, whether or not she was murdered. Like, it's upsetting.
Well, so, and then her brother-in-law was a TV cameraman and covered the case and was in a cell with Peterson.
Wait,
at
what?
one point. Yeah. And is of the opinion that he done it.
Oh, shit.
And that's not a spoiler alert, because the whole thing is a did he or didn't he do it situation.
Even watching and we've obviously watched more since last podcast, and we're even deeper into it, and like remembering, I mean, Colin Firth doing an amazing job remembering his mannerisms and like the type of guy he is. It is really hard to decipher if he is just like a true weirdo, and there's no right way to react to trauma. So like, you know, I think we're past the point of thinking like if someone doesn't cry or scream or if they're like crying or scream, like there's no right way to be. Like the police, I think, used to in trials say like they weren't upset enough or they were blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This guy, it's hard to tell if he is, if it's all performative, like all of it.
Yeah.
Versus if he's just like a real weirdo. And it's interesting.
What is interesting about this dramatized version, which obviously is inspired by the true events, but it is interesting to see this other info, which we don't know how true or not true it is.
Yeah.
But like, you know, they're talking about there potentially being financial problems in the family, it seems like, which I don't know how. Do you remember that being touched on a lot in the documentary? I don't so much.
I don't, but it is interesting because it kind of gives it puts more motive on it. And also I feel like there's more, like, what's interesting, though, is the documentary was very much through the lens of we are living the life of Michael Peterson as he's going through this process.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely was weighted on that side versus the, like, investigation of the DA or whatever. But what I find really fascinating, and because of that, I think we didn't hear that much about the finances. We also didn't go too into detail about the kids' relationships.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a complex situation where Michael has 2 sons that are biologically his. He has 2 adopted daughters who I believe are not biologically his. And then Kathleen had 1 daughter that was not biologically his, but was her. So
Yeah.
she only had 1 biological child in this relationship. And I find that really interesting. And also it's fascinating in terms of like who thinks what happened.
Yeah. It is crazy.
Do you think he did it? Like after all this time, I have to say watching it again and being like, they're saying it was a tool that's hollow. Like for that to happen to someone's, how she died, like her head. I mean, what I don't think happened is she just fell down the stairs. I think, but I'm like, have we given any more insight into the owl theory? Is that just off the table?
We'll see if they revisit that in this dramatized version. But I do think, I don't want to spoil, there is like one of the biggest, there's a huge reveal like midway through the documentary.
Yeah.
That to me, and is also potentially one of the most damning things, if not the biggest coincidence of all time.
It truly is, like, it's so damning that it almost feels stupid. Like
It's yeah.
And or if he didn't kill Kathleen, then it's like you are the most unlucky human being.
Which, I mean, yeah, I feel like that does happen sometimes to people. You know, there is those like, I feel like there's so many of those stories, like when it rains, it pours, or like this poor bastard got hit by lightning 3 times. Or
well, I don't know. I think that this is a little far flung. Like the person who's getting struck by lightning 3 times is standing out in a field holding I don't know. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Anywho, well, wait. So, were there any more details in that message that is why the camera crew person thinks that he did it?
No, not really. Not really. It was just like,
I would love to know.
yeah.
That's so.
But
awesome.
the listener, Chrissy, was saying he still lives in Durham, so she's always like, "Am I gonna see him?" Which, that must be so weird now, being that family with like this whole re-energized look at the case because of the new show and just like people seeing you out and about.
Well, it just never ends.
Yeah, like this has become their life.
20 years ago or whatever, 15 years ago. The other thing, I mean, I find it really interesting and upsetting. I mean, this is like a much bigger story and how fucked up our justice system is. That like it's been crafted in a way that like a black man who had pot is in life in prison, and then white men who are convicted, which is like so hard to get convictions against white men, particularly for domestic violence, child abuse, like abuse against women and kids of any kind, but convicted men who have been tried and like are convicted of the crime of child rape still, which science has proven that they will keep doing that again and again. Like there is very little rehabilitation for that sort of crime, are getting these insanely short sentences. You know, I feel like, what was it that I saw recently where the guy got less, like he had kidnapped a kid. I mean, this was decades ago, but still, like he had kidnapped 2 kids, proven to kidnap them, had raped this kid for over the course of 7 years, had brainwashed him, told him his family didn't want him. Horrific, horrific. And he was tried and found guilty and got less than the time. He got less than 7 years. And so he was back out in the world, and guess what happened?
Right.
So, this is a bigger systemic problem with our justice system, obviously. But that, like, Michael Peterson's, I mean, I know his case is more complicated, but he's out and about in Durham living his life. I think about, like, there was this documentary. Oh, I wish I remembered what it was, but it's about this guy in Ireland. Do you remember? Did you watch that with me?
Oh,
and he
yeah.
murdered.
It's seemingly he's like definitely the guy that did it,
without question. And he's still there in that town in Ireland, and everyone. I mean, he's a horrific person, even if you can believe it. Outside of him murdering this person,
yeah.
And he like goes to the farmer's market and writes poems for people and stuff, and people still like have to deal with him living out and living his life there. And then, I mean, even something as like my voiceover coach, Peter Rofe, who I know assaulted countless women and raped several women, and still living his life out in New York, like married, kid. It's all very upsetting that people have to kind of operate around these people that they know have this situation.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
So anyway.
So what's on the docket for you today?
Well, now I have to go, like, I'm on a pen hunt, obviously. I was going to get my car washed. I'm meeting up with one of our writer's assistants, which is going to be the bright light of my day, for a coffee. Cleaning. Got to clean this house, wash sheets. All, lots of fun stuff.
Well, I love you so much. I hope you have a
I
nice
love
trip.
You. Thanks. I'm excited. I am very excited. Anxiety aside, I am super, super excited. And we have some fun things coming up, so that's good.
Love it. All
Love
right.
it. Okay. Good night.
Good night.